Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Have you ever felt it? That strange shift in someone's energy, like they're standing on the edge of saying something that could change everything between you, but they hold it back at the last second. And somehow, you feel it in your chest before they ever open their mouth. Because someone in your life right now is about to admit they've been in love with you. And the signs are already there, you just haven't connected them yet. Before we go deeper, take 1 second, subscribe to the channel and like this video, because what you're about to hear might change the way you see people, forever. Listen carefully, because this isn't obvious behavior, it's quiet, controlled, almost invisible if you're not paying attention. When someone has been in love with you for a long time, they don't act dramatic, they don't rush, they become careful. Too careful. You'll notice it in the way they choose their words around you, like they're constantly filtering something deeper, something they're afraid might slip out. They'll laugh, but sometimes it feels delayed, like they were thinking about something else before reacting. They'll look at you, then quickly look away, not because they're shy, but because they almost revealed too much in that 1 second of eye contact. And here's what most men misunderstand. When a woman is about to confess feelings she's been hiding, she doesn't move closer first, she pulls back. Not physically, emotionally. She becomes quieter, more observant, almost distant. And that distance isn't rejection, it's pressure building inside her. She's trying to decide if you're safe enough to hear the truth, or if saying it will destroy everything. You might feel confused, wondering why she suddenly feels different, colder, harder to read. But what you're actually feeling is the moment right before honesty breaks through fear. And the more she cares, the more dangerous that moment feels to her. Because admitting love, especially when it's been hidden, means losing control. And right now, she's standing at the edge of that loss, trying to decide if you're worth the fall. You think love shows itself clearly, but real, hidden love doesn't move in obvious ways. It hides in contradictions, in behavior that doesn't quite make sense unless you look beneath the surface. She might start treating you differently, not better, not worse, just different in a way you can't explain. One moment she's warm, present, almost emotionally open, and the next she pulls back like she said too much without saying anything at all. That inconsistency, that tension, it's not confusion, it's restraint. Because when someone has been in love with you silently, they've built walls inside themselves to survive it. And now those walls are starting to crack. You'll notice she becomes more aware of you, not in a loud way, but in small, precise details. She remembers things you said weeks ago, things you don't even remember saying. She notices your mood shifts before anyone else does. She reacts to your silence, not just your words. That's not casual interest. That's emotional investment that's been growing in the background for a long time. But here's where it gets deeper. She might start testing you, not with games, but with subtle emotional risks. She'll say something slightly vulnerable, then watch how you respond. Not your words, your reaction, your tone, your presence. Because she's asking one silent question. If I show you a little more of how I feel, will you hold it or will you drop it? And if your response feels uncertain, even slightly, she pulls back again. Not because she doesn't feel enough, but because she feels too much to risk losing control. You might think she's being complicated, hard to understand, but the truth is, she's protecting something that matters more to her than you realize. And then there are the moments, the ones that feel too intense to ignore, the eye contact that lasts half a second too long, the silence that feels louder than words. The way her energy shifts when you're close, like she's trying to stay grounded, but something inside her is pulling forward. That's not accidental. That's someone fighting the urge to reveal everything all at once. Because once she says it, once she admits she's been in love with you, there's no going back to how things were. And right now, she's still deciding if you're ready to hear it, or if the truth will change you in ways she can't control. There's a moment. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it completely. The exact point where her silence becomes heavier than any words she could say. It's subtle, almost invisible, but everything changes there. She starts to linger. Not in an obvious way. She won't chase you. She won't demand your attention. But she won't leave either. Conversations stretch longer than they need to. Goodbyes feel unfinished. There's always something unsaid hanging in the air, like both of you can feel it, but only one of you understands what it really means. And here's the part most men overlook. She begins to reveal pieces of herself she doesn't show to anyone else. Not everything, not all at once, but enough to test the ground beneath her feet. She'll talk about her fears in a way that feels slightly too real. She'll open up about past experiences, not for sympathy, but to see if you understand her on a deeper level. And when you respond, she listens carefully, not just to your words, but to what kind of man you are when faced with her truth. Because she's not just deciding whether to confess, she's deciding whether you're the kind of man who can handle what comes after. And then, something even more revealing starts to happen. She becomes emotionally affected by things that never used to matter. Your attention, or lack of it, begins to shift her mood in ways she can't fully hide anymore. If you pull away, even slightly, she feels it deeper than she wants to admit. If you give attention to someone else, you might catch a flicker in her expression, something controlled, but unmistakably real. Not jealousy in a dramatic sense, but a quiet discomfort she tries to suppress. Because she hasn't claimed you, she hasn't told you how she feels, so she believes she has no right to react. But emotions don't follow rules, and the longer she holds this inside, the harder it becomes to keep that control intact. You might notice her trying to act normal, trying to keep things exactly how they've always been. But there's a tension now, a pressure building underneath every interaction. Because she's reaching a point where silence is no longer safe, where not saying anything is starting to hurt more than the risk of being honest. And when someone reaches that point, the truth doesn't stay hidden for long. At this stage, the behavior becomes almost paradoxical. She may seem closer than ever, yet emotionally more exposed, and at the same time, more guarded than you've ever seen her. That contradiction is not confusion, it's conflict. Inside her mind, two forces are pulling in opposite directions. One part of her wants to finally release what she's been carrying, to be honest, to be seen, to stop pretending that her feelings don't exist. The other part is terrified of what happens if she does. Because once love is spoken out loud, it becomes real in a way that cannot be undone. So instead of confessing directly, she begins to communicate through moments, small, meaningful gestures that carry more weight than words. She may prioritize you in subtle ways, choosing to spend time with you when she doesn't have to, checking in on you without any clear reason, remembering small details about your life that others overlook. These aren't random habits. They're expressions of emotional attachment that haven't been verbalized yet. And then there's hesitation. You'll notice pauses in conversations, moments where she starts to say something, then stops. Not because she has nothing to say, but because what she almost said would have revealed too much. Those pauses are where her truth lives. Watch her body language in those moments, the slight shift in breathing, the way she composes herself before continuing, the way her eyes briefly search for something, as if she's looking for the courage to proceed. She's not being indecisive without reason, she's calculating risk. Because she understands, even if she hasn't said it out loud, that once she admits her feelings, the dynamic between you will change instantly. There will be no returning to the neutral ground where everything felt simple and undefined. And that's what makes this moment so intense for her. She's not just deciding whether to tell you she's in love with you. She's deciding whether she's ready to accept whatever your reaction will be, knowing it will shape how she sees you and how she sees herself from that point forward. And when someone reaches this level of emotional investment, the confession is no longer a question of if. It becomes a question of when she can no longer hold it in. Eventually, there comes a breaking point that doesn't look dramatic on the outside, but internally, it's overwhelming. She can't keep carrying the feeling the same way anymore. The emotional weight of pretending, of holding back, of acting like everything is normal when it isn't, starts to outweigh the fear of rejection. And that shift is critical. Because people don't confess love when they feel safe. They confess when they can no longer stay silent without it affecting their peace. At this stage, you may notice a change in urgency, not desperation, but a quiet sense that something is about to happen. Her interactions with you may feel slightly more intentional, more focused. Conversations may carry a deeper tone, even when the topic is something simple. It's as if she's no longer interested in maintaining surface-level connection. She wants depth, clarity, truth, and most importantly, she starts positioning herself closer to a moment where the truth can come out naturally. Not forced, not scripted, but in a way that feels like it has been building toward this point all along. You might hear her say things that sound slightly more personal than usual, statements that hint at emotional attachment without directly stating it. Or she may create opportunities to be alone with you, not for any obvious reason, but because proximity makes honesty easier. Silence becomes different now. It's no longer comfortable, it's charged. And in those quiet moments, where nothing is being said, everything is being felt. This is often when the confession happens, not in a grand gesture, not in a perfectly planned speech, but in a moment where she realizes she cannot continue living in between truth and silence. And when she finally says it, it won't just be about the words themselves. It will carry every moment she held back, every glance she didn't sustain, every sentence she stopped midway, every emotion she controlled to protect herself. That's what you'll hear, if you truly listen. But here's the part you need to understand. By the time she admits she's been in love with you, she has already lived with that feeling for a long time. The confession is not the beginning of her love, it's the moment she finally stops hiding it. And how you respond in that moment will determine not just what happens next between you, but how safe she feels being emotionally open again in the future. Because for her, this isn't just a confession. It's a risk she's been preparing to take long before you ever realized it was coming.